Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello and welcome once again to Cheap Shot Entertainment, the Quick Shot Reviews movie channel dedicated to movies that we see on a regular basis. I am your host Luke and you are the Cheap Shot Nation. Today's movie is a direct-to-streaming service horror film with origins in a much better place. It is the 2022 film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Although I believe that is the wrong name. I think it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre because people found it really difficult to read so many words in terms of this film because their attention span finished before they read the title. Anyway, do I think this film is good? Why don't you join us for the main part of the video to find out? In the meantime, make sure you click subscribe and like the video, and I will see you there. Thank you. So 2022 brings us a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. Beautifully shot, it must be said, but ultimately, is this film good or not? No, it's really not. I had to watch it twice to make sure I wasn't just extremely tired the first time I watched it, which I was, and formed a bad opinion of this movie. But genuinely, this is a bad movie. It's got a bad premise. The fact that it tries to say that it's a direct sequel to the original just takes me completely out of this one. It's directed by Chris Thomas Devlin, and it takes place 50 years after the original, with Leatherface hiding. Yeah, just go and murder some teenagers and then just fade away into the sunset. Leatherface, because that is just not possible. Anyway, it centres around a group of idealistic young friends who are boomers who have bought this town, this ghost town, apparently with a hotel, an orphanage, people living there, including police officers. And they are shipping in people to buy the shops and the buildings so that they can repopulate it. Sounds like a good plan in theory, but this town is in the middle of nowhere. So who's going to come and shop there? And why the heck would people want to buy the shops in the first place if they're not going to make ends meet? But a faithful friend comes along to interrupt their misuse of this ghost town in the friendly form of Leatherface, the killer who carries around a chainsaw wearing the face of human skin. Right, so this is a 1 hour 23 minute movie that feels more like about 5 hours. It is very poor. Like I say, it is shot very well. I will give this one... the director is David Blue Garcia. I don't even know where I got that from. Chris Thomas Devlin wrote the screenplay. Sorry, that is my fault. Just looking back on my notes here. Like I say, it's beautifully shot, and that's pretty much the only thing it's got going for it. There is one scene where there is an actual chainsaw massacre in Texas, which is nice because the other films don't really ever do that. I really like that scene actually, it's quite good. But it's centred around modern age people with their mobile phones and Leatherface just not getting it and then cutting them up. So, that element of it, I can dig. The rest of it absolutely sucks. So, this film. What can I say about this film? So it takes place in modern times. It is the who has previously, the director's only previously directed one film which is called Tajano, apparently. I don't even know what that is. Like I say, centres around a group of young people going to a remote Texas town to try and sell it to people to get tourists in. Yeah. The last resident is the brutal and mysterious Leatherface, as I've mentioned, living in an orphanage, who, these young people, including Sarah Yarkin playing Melody, Elsie Fisher playing Leela, Mark Burnham plays Leatherface, Jacob Lattimore plays Dante, and Mo Dunford plays Richter, with Alwyn Fure playing Sally Hardesty. Now, this is where my interest peaked. Well, it peaked quite early on, actually, but why would Sally, the lady who was left screaming in the back of a truck running away from a chainsaw-wielding maniac, want to come back and hunt Leatherface after 50 years if she's not been bothered by him at all? Why would you bother doing it? Because it's been done to great success in Halloween 2018, clearly. Anyway, yes, it tries to emulate the success of the 2018 Halloween movie. So it's tried to go in slightly new direction with the plot, but ultimately with what worked with the Halloween movie doesn't work here. You're trying to take a direct sequel from a classic horror movie, and it just doesn't work. Unfortunately, no people from the original film return. Of course, the lady who played Sally in the original film sadly died not long ago, and comes up with the ideas, some good story elements, but it tries to pick so many of them. It's unbelievable. One of the first scenes is the black character Dante, played by Jacob Lattimore, seeing a Confederate flag and trying to take it down, trying to not scare people away, but it's Texas. That is, it's not, shouldn't ever be in place, but it is Texas. That's part of their history. Director David Blue Garcia and screenwriter Chris Thomas Devlin, they're novices, but they film this movie really, really well. It's just, they probably could have done with doing a few more films first before taking the Texas Chainsaw name. Now, the reason this one went straight to streaming services is because the test audiences basically chewed it up and spat it out and told them it was rubbish. So they sold it to Netflix, and of course, people will watch it. I watched it. I knew it was going to be bad just because it's got the Texas Chainsaw name on it. But they could have made this one work, and sadly they didn't. The story came across as very cliche. The characters all make stupid mistakes. Oh, look, I'm running and then I'll trip over. That kind of thing. You also have to wait a long time before Leatherface comes into action. He's doing things that aren't very Leatherface-like in the ways he's taking people out as well. He's well known for his use of a chainsaw in terms of when he does things, and there are some really entertaining scenes in this film, but not very many, and they're few and far between. So do I think you should go and watch this film on Netflix? Absolutely not. It is a terrible, terrible, terrible film. It should not be watched by anybody, but clearly it has been. The 2003 remake was much, much better. So, that is my review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Netflix, or as I like to call it, the Netflix Chainsaw Massacre. And it is awful. So, if you've watched this film, please leave us a comment section in the comment section. And do all the YouTube-y type stuff, like and subscribe. And join us on social media, that is Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. And I will see you next time on Quick Shot Reviews. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Hiya!